Give me 10 seconds of your attention. If someone has ever given you a gift and you brought it into your home without thinking, that might be connected to the sense of lack you feel today. Because there are 5 very common gifts that arrive with an invisible mark. This isn't about blame, it's about influence, and the worst part, a lot of people are attracting scarcity without even realizing it. You work hard, you put in the effort, and still the money disappears, the bills feel tight, random expenses show up, opportunities knock on the door but don't come in. It looks like bad luck, but sometimes it's just one small detail inside your home keeping the cycle running. Today I'm going to show you, one by one, the 5 gifts you shouldn't keep the way they are, and what you can do today to break this pattern with respect and safety. And I need to tell you this, some people receive just one of them, and within a few months, a chain of losses and blocks began. Coincidence? Not always. Sometimes it's an invisible thread we don't see. Before the first gift, take a quick step with me. Comment, "I cut scarcity." Just that. And subscribe now, because this channel is new, and every week I share symbolic and practical guidance to protect your home and your peace. Take a breath with me. I know this topic stirs something because it touches 2 very intimate things, your home and your sense of safety. And before I show you the 5 gifts, I need to make something very clear. Here we're going to talk about symbolism, intention, and household habits in an educational and respectful way. This is not about being afraid of people, and it's not about blaming whoever gave you something. Most of the time, gifts are given with care and good intentions. The point is something else. Certain objects carry stories and memories, and over time they can become a silent reminder of scarcity inside the environment. And if you're thinking, "I don't really believe in this kind of thing," that's okay. Stay anyway, because at the very least you'll understand how small details keep a cycle of pressure active in our minds and in our daily lives. And when the mind goes into scarcity mode, the home follows. It gets disorganized, heavy, draining, and we start accepting the bare minimum as if it were normal. Now pay attention to what I'm about to promise you. Today I'm going to show you the 5 most common gifts that, when they enter your home the wrong way, can amplify this feeling of lack. And for each one, I'll give you 3 things: the why, the sign, and what to do today. No drama, no guilt, with respect. And I'll give you one rule right now before the list even begins. If you received something related to money, and that object already belonged to someone else, or came loaded with history, the golden rule is simple. Don't use it today. Just pause. Put it in a separate place and stay with me because I'll explain exactly what to do, safely. And if you want to be part of this community from the beginning, subscribe now. This channel is new, and we're building a practical and symbolic series focused on the home, protection, and peace of mind. Now I'm going to explain the rule behind all of this in 1 minute, and then we'll move into the first gift. I'll explain it simply without complicating it. When a gift enters your life, it never comes in empty. It comes with a story, with the memory of who gave it, with the moment it was given, with the feeling it awakens in you. Sometimes that's beautiful. Sometimes because it's heavy. And there's one detail many people overlook. Some objects sit very close to sensitive areas of life. Near money, near the body, near rest, near the path you walk every day, near the way you see yourself. And when an object like that carries a memory of pressure, debt, urgency, or conflict, it becomes a silent trigger, not because the object has any magic, but because it anchors a feeling, and a repeated feeling becomes a pattern. So today, here's what we're going to do. I'll show you the 5 gifts, and for each one I'll ask you a very direct question. Where is it in your home, and how do you feel when you look at it? That's where the sign lives, and I'll repeat this every time. This is not about fighting with anyone. It's not about blaming family members. It's about taking back control of your home, and through that, taking back control of your life. Now let's go to the first gift. And I'll warn you, it's the most common one and the most underestimated. Listen carefully because this first gift is so common that most people never even consider it could have any impact. The first gift you need to observe with care and real awareness is a used wallet. A wallet that already belonged to someone else. Sometimes it comes with, "Here, it's basically new. I barely used it." Sometimes it comes as, "It's a designer brand, I bought a new one, you can have this." Sometimes it comes as an inheritance. Sometimes as a keepsake. Sometimes as a gesture of help. And I know what you might be thinking, but it's just a wallet. Except, a wallet is never just a wallet. A wallet is where you keep your money, your ID, your cards. In practice, it's the most direct symbol of your ability to receive and hold. It's a container. And every container in life carries a simple truth. If it's cracked, what you put inside doesn't stay. So what happens when you take a wallet that already belonged to someone else? You also take what no one sees, the moments that wallet lived through. This is not about paranoia. It's about awareness, realizing that without noticing, we sometimes accept certain patterns into our homes and into our lives. Think about it with me. How many times does someone open their wallet in moments of stress? At the checkout, counting bills. At the bank, trying to renegotiate. Looking at a bill they weren't expecting. On an anxious day, the wallet becomes a silent witness. And when you start using a wallet that already lived through those moments, you may be keeping a constant reminder of scarcity in your daily life. So here's a very simple, very direct sign. If you have a wallet that was a gift, especially if it was used, answer this honestly for yourself. When you open that wallet, do you feel lightness or do you feel a weight? Do you feel organization or confusion? Do you feel like money comes in and stays, or like it comes in and disappears? Because the pattern usually looks like this. The person keeps working, keeps trying, but something is always draining. One small expense here, another one there. And suddenly the month is over. Let me tell you a short story so you can see how this shows up in real life. A woman, I'll call her Patricia, received a beautiful leather wallet as a gift from a close relative. It was one of those gifts that makes you smile. Wow, it's a brand name, it's gorgeous. She accepted it with gratitude. What she didn't see was that behind the scenes, that relative was going through a very difficult period. Debt, worry, closed doors, the shame of needing help. That wallet had been opened dozens and dozens of times in moments of pressure. Patricia started using the wallet right after her birthday. The first few days, nothing happened, but slowly life started to feel tight. A client disappeared, a payment was delayed, an unexpected expense showed up, and the strangest part, she was doing the same thing she always did, working the same way, but it felt like opportunities came close, and then pulled away. Do you know what changed everything? It wasn't arguing with the person. It wasn't blaming anyone. It was taking back control. She stopped. She looked at the wallet, and she asked a question I want you to ask today. Does this wallet represent my future or someone else's story? And here's what you can do, simply and respectfully. If your wallet is used or previously belonged to someone else, you have two options. First option, if it has emotional value, keep it as a keepsake, but don't use it daily. Second option, if it doesn't have emotional value, separate it today and replace it with a wallet that is yours even if it's simple. It's not about the price, it's about the symbol. I am building my own container, and I'll give you a small gesture that really helps the mind close this cycle. When you start using the new wallet, place inside it a clean bill or a coin you like and say, firmly without rushing, I receive, I organize, I sustain. 3 times. Sounds simple? It is. And that's why it works. Because you're teaching your brain to leave survival mode and step into command. Now let me ask you something. Have you ever received a used wallet as a gift? Or are you using a wallet that once belonged to someone else? If yes, comment, I choose awareness. Just that. And stay with me because the second gift is even more common. And it affects an area most people don't even notice. Your time. Now the second gift looks even more innocent. And that's exactly why it's dangerous. No one suspects it. The second gift you need to observe is a clock or a watch that belonged to someone else. It can be a wall clock, a wristwatch, something beautiful, expensive, old, or passed down through the family. And let me be clear, this is not about disrespecting anyone's memory. It's about understanding what a clock represents in your life. A clock doesn't just measure hours. It sets rhythm. It creates urgency. It marks cycles. And most importantly, it marks how you feel when you look at it. How many women today live with the feeling that time is slipping through their fingers, that life turned into a constant rush, that everyone needs something, everyone asks something, and you're always putting out fires? A clock, in your home or on your body, can become a constant signal of that anxiety. And when the clock is used, when it already followed someone else's life, it may carry a very specific memory, the memory of heavy time. Time filled with worry, bills, sleepless nights, pressure, rushing. So I want you to ask yourself one simple question. When you wear or look at this clock, do you feel your time is organized? Or do you feel like you're always behind? Do you feel calm? Or do you feel that tightness, like you're chasing something you never quite reach? Because scarcity doesn't show up only in money, it shows up in time too. And when time is disorganized, money usually follows the same pattern. It comes in and goes out, comes in and goes out. And you end up tired, drained, without energy, starting to think, well, that's just how life is. Let me tell you a short story, and pay attention to the detail. A man, I'll call him Robert, received an important family watch. It was a gift full of emotion, a symbol of love. He put it on his wrist the way you place a memory close to your heart. What he didn't know was this. In the last years of that person's life, they lived with fear of not having enough, hidden debt, sleepless nights. That watch marked every second of that anxiety. Robert started wearing the watch every day. At first it was just pride. Then strange things began to happen. Projects stalled, doors closed, a kind of exhaustion that didn't make sense. He was still competent, still doing what he always did, but it felt like his time didn't stretch anymore. He was running harder and getting less. And here's the most important part. He started waking up at odd hours, with anxiety in his chest, like he was always behind on something, even when he wasn't. That's very common when life slips into a scarcity rhythm. The person loses peace, and without peace we make bad decisions. We buy impulsively, we settle for less, we postpone what matters, we blame ourselves, we burn out. The shift happened when an older, wiser person asked him a simple question. Is this watch marking your time, or someone else's story? And here's what you can do today, respectfully and safely. If the watch belongs to someone you love and has emotional value, the guidance is this. Keep it as a keepsake, but don't use it as your everyday watch. Place it in a box, somewhere beautiful, with respect. You honor the story, but you don't mix that rhythm with your own. If the watch doesn't have emotional value, and you received it because it was extra, still good, just sitting there, then the action is simple. Separate it today. You don't need to throw it away. Just remove it from your cycle. And I want to give you a small gesture that helps a lot if you feel tired and overwhelmed. Take a watch that is yours, or even your phone, and choose a fixed time for a short moment of peace. It can be 2 minutes. At that time, stop and say, firmly, my time is mine, I don't chase lack, I move in order. 3 times, because the goal here is to restore the feeling of command. And when you take command of your time, you start taking command of everything else. So tell me, do you have a watch that belonged to someone else, or did you receive a watch as a gift and it became your main watch? If yes, comment, I restore my time. And stay with me, because the third gift is the one that creates the most confusion for women, precisely because it looks intimate, loving, harmless. That's where many people get tangled without realizing it. And let me ask you something quickly before the third gift, because this really helps this channel reach more women who need to hear this calmly and with respect. If what I've said so far has made sense, if you thought I've never looked at it this way, subscribe now. This channel is new, and I'm building a complete series about home, symbolic protection, and conscious prosperity. And if you know a woman who lives tired, stretched thin, with the feeling that everything gets stuck, share this video with her. It might be exactly what she needs to take her power back. Now let's move to the third gift. The third gift is delicate. And I'm going to speak with respect, because I know many women receive this with affection, even emotion. The third gift you need to observe very consciously is intimate items or very personal clothing given by someone else. It can be lingerie, sleepwear, something very close to the body, very private. Sometimes it comes as a treat, sometimes as, I thought of you, sometimes as a gift from someone very close. And why does this matter? Because there's a huge difference between an object that stays in the living room and an object that touches your skin, follows you into rest, and stays with you when you're most vulnerable. What is intimate isn't intimate only to the body. It's intimate to the mind, to emotions, to the sense of safety. And here's something many people don't understand. Even when a gift is well-intentioned, it can carry a silent message. A message like, I choose for you, I enter your space, I have access. And for many women, this activates something very subtle, a small discomfort, almost imperceptible, that slowly builds. So I want you to observe yourself honestly. Have you ever received something very personal and when wearing it, felt an uneasiness you couldn't explain? A feeling of, this isn't really me? A heaviness in the body? More restless sleep? Irritation without a clear reason? Sometimes it's not mystical at all. Sometimes it's simple. It's your emotional system saying this crossed a boundary. And when boundaries get blurred, life tends to get blurred too. A woman starts saying yes when she really wants to say no. She starts settling for the bare minimum. She starts feeling guilty for choosing her own peace. And that is perfect ground for scarcity, because scarcity feeds on exhaustion. Let me tell you a short story. Pay attention to the detail. A woman, I'll call her Carmen, had a simple but organized life. She worked, took care of her home, did everything with effort and dignity. Then she received a very personal, very beautiful gift from someone close. On the outside it looked like affection, but underneath there was something else. A silent competition, unspoken comparison, hidden envy that no one ever said out loud. Carmen accepted the gift because she didn't want to seem ungrateful, and she started using it. Little by little, her life began to lose its center. Nothing huge all at once, but a sequence: petty arguments, constant tiredness, lack of motivation, small expenses that hadn't existed before, a heavy feeling inside her own home. And the worst part? She started looking at herself in the mirror and thinking, I'm losing my glow. That's serious, because when a woman loses her glow, she loses decisiveness. And when decisiveness goes, opportunities follow. The turning point came when she found the courage to ask a simple question. Does this actually make me feel good? Or am I wearing this out of obligation? And here's the practical guidance, respectfully and clearly. If you received any very intimate item and, when wearing it, you feel discomfort, the first step is this: stop using it. Don't over-explain, don't justify, don't blame yourself. Just stop. You don't need to prove anything to anyone. You need to protect your space. If it has emotional value and came from someone you love, keep it, but don't use it daily. If it has no emotional value and you feel it weighs on you, you can quietly let it go, without drama. The most important thing is the symbolic act. I choose what enters my space. And I want to give you a small practice that calms the nervous system and restores a sense of control. When you put on a piece of clothing that is yours, chosen by you, do it with presence and say quietly but firmly, my body is my home. My peace is my law. I do not carry what is not mine. 3 times. Now I want you to do something with me, because this doesn't help only you, it helps other women watching too. If this touched you, comment, I protect my space. And if you feel it in your heart, reply to another woman's comment with a simple phrase like, may your home be filled with peace and provision. That creates a strengthening chain. And in a moment, I'll give you a very practical step to clear the environment, without extremes. Now, the 4th gift is one of the most dangerous, because it affects how you see yourself. And it's very common with inheritance, moving, or hand-me-downs. Before I reveal the 4th gift, I want to turn this into a current of strength, because I know many women watch videos like this alone, quietly holding worries in their chest. So do this with me, simply and with dignity. Write in the comments, I cut off scarcity. That's it. No explanations, no exposure. It's a short statement, but it marks a moment. I woke up, then scroll a bit and reply to another woman with a message of care like, you're not alone, or may your home have peace and provision. That's real community. And when we strengthen ourselves together, the mind leaves fear mode and enters solution mode. Now, let's move to the 4th gift. This gift often enters the home through inheritance, donation, or moving, and it touches something very sensitive, how you see yourself. Pay close attention, because this 4th gift is tricky precisely because it looks neutral. It doesn't seem connected to money, it doesn't seem connected to time, it doesn't seem connected to the body, but it quietly affects all of them. The 4th gift you need to observe is a used mirror, especially an old mirror that came from inheritance, a move, a donation, or one someone gave you because it was too beautiful to throw away. And I want to be very clear and respectful here. A mirror in your home is not just an object. It's a symbol of identity, of self-image, of how you see yourself when no one else is watching. How many women, especially after 50, start carrying a silent self-pressure? Pressure about the body, about age, about the past, about decisions they made. Without realizing it, a woman can slip into an inner dialogue that drains energy. I don't shine like I used to. I'm tired all the time. My life is stuck. What's the point of trying? That's dangerous because when self-image drops, courage drops with it. And when courage drops, life begins to stall. And prosperity suffers too. Because in the end, prosperity requires presence, decision, and trust in your own path. A used mirror can become a trigger for this kind of inner dialogue, especially when it's placed in strategic spots, in front of your workspace, in a hallway you walk through many times a day, in the bedroom, or near the entrance of the home. Here's a simple sign. If you have an old mirror at home, notice how you feel when you walk past it. Do you feel more confident, or do you feel smaller? Do you feel organized, or do you feel a kind of sadness you can't quite explain? Because sometimes a space doesn't speak with words, it speaks through sensation. Now, let me tell you a short story, very real in human behavior. A woman, I'll call her Helen, received a large, beautiful mirror from an older relative. It was an antique mirror with an ornate frame, the kind that feels fancy, old house elegant. Helen placed the mirror directly in front of the spot where she handled paperwork and organized her life. She thought it added a classy touch, but over time she noticed something strange. She would sit down to organize things, and instead of clarity, she felt tired. Instead of decisiveness, she felt doubt. She looked at herself and felt heavy. She started procrastinating, started saying, "I'll deal with it later." And when "I'll deal with it later" becomes a habit, life turns into a pile of unfinished business. And it didn't stop there. Little by little, she started seeing herself with harsher eyes. She became more self-critical, less patient at home. And when the emotional energy of a home becomes heavy, everything becomes heavy. Relationships, sleep, motivation, the courage to go after opportunities. The shift happened when she asked herself a simple question. Does this mirror reflect who I really am, or does it reflect a heavier version of me? And here's today's practical guidance. No drama. If the mirror is used, and you notice it affects your emotions, the first thing to do is this. Move it to a different place for 7 days, that's it. No breaking it, no extreme actions. Just place it somewhere you're not constantly facing it. And observe what changes, and your mood, your energy, your sleep. If you want to go one step further, there's a simple action that helps organize the mind. Clean the mirror slowly, and while cleaning it, say, "I choose to see myself with clarity. I choose to see myself with respect. I choose to see myself with hope." 3 times. And if this mirror came from an inheritance, let me be clear, this is not disrespect. You can honor a story and still protect your daily life. Sometimes the best place for a memory object is not the place of everyday use. Memory deserves respect. Routine deserves lightness. Now tell me, do you have an old mirror at home? One that came from a donation, inheritance, or a move? If yes, comment, "I see myself clearly," and stay with me, because the 5th gift is the most common of all. Many people accept it out of necessity, out of saving money, out of it's still in good shape, and it affects something fundamental, your path. Now the 5th gift is the most common one, and I'll be very direct. It's the one most people accept out of need, thrift, or practicality. And I understand, life doesn't always allow easy choices. The 5th gift you need to observe is used shoes. A pair of shoes that belonged to someone else, that walked someone else's life, that touched the ground with someone else's energy, mood, and story. And why does this matter? Because shoes are a symbol of path, of direction, of forward movement. And in life, a path isn't only physical. A path is decision, opportunity, courage, motion. When a woman feels stuck, she often says things like, "I keep moving, but I'm not getting anywhere," or "I do so much, and nothing leads anywhere." That's the language of path, and when it comes to path, everything that touches the ground carries strong symbolic weight. Here's a simple sign. If you wear someone else's shoes, notice how you feel when you put them on. Do you feel grounded, geared, or uncomfortable? Do you feel like today will work out, or do you already start the day tired? Because sometimes the body notices before the mind does, and there's an important detail here, especially for women over 50. Feet are foundation, they're support. If the foundation isn't right, everything else starts to misalign. Posture, mood, energy, motivation to act. Now let me tell you a short story that helps clarify the pattern. A woman, I'll call her Elisa, received brand-name shoes from someone close. It seemed like a generous gesture. "I barely wore them. They're basically new. Take them." Elisa accepted because she needed them. What she didn't know was that the person giving them was living through a period of anxiety, disorganized spending, pressure, fear of not having enough. And those shoes had walked through exactly that phase. Bank runs, rushing, arguments, stress, bad decisions. Elisa started wearing the shoes to work, and within a few weeks her life entered a pattern many people recognize. Expense after expense, unexpected repairs, extra bills, problems appearing out of nowhere. She worked more, and still the money felt like it was disappearing. It felt like the money was evaporating. And on top of that, she started feeling irritable and exhausted in a way that didn't match her normal routine. You know what's most common at this point? The person starts thinking it's her fault, that she doesn't know how to manage money, that she has bad luck, and that turns into an emotional spiral. The turning point came when she got home, took off the shoes, and felt, inside, a sense of rejection. It wasn't a rational thought, it was a felt sense. And when a feeling shows up that clearly, you need to respect it. She decided to do something simple. She stopped wearing those shoes in her day-to-day life. And the next day she bought a pair that was inexpensive, simple, but hers. It didn't need to be expensive, it needed to be hers. And here comes today's practical guidance. No extremes, no drama. If you have shoes that belong to someone else, I'm not going to tell you to throw them away if you can't. Instead, I'll give you 3 possible paths, and you choose what fits your reality. First path. If you can, separate those shoes today and keep them only for non-important situations. Don't wear them for decisions, job interviews, dates, or work moments. Those moments require a solid foundation. Second path. If you can't buy new shoes right now, do something symbolic and simple. Wash or clean the shoes carefully, and when you put them on, say, "I walk my own path, I don't repeat anyone else's story." 3 times. It may seem small, but it's a powerful mental cut. You're training your brain not to place itself in the shadow of someone else's life. Third path. If you're able to buy a new pair, even a simple one, do it as a marker. And on the first day you wear them before leaving the house, pause for 5 seconds and say, "Today I step into order. Today I open my path." Because what we're really doing here is reorganizing 2 things, the home and the mind. And when home and mind align, the body responds. You sleep better, you decide better, you organize better, and you start noticing opportunities that used to pass you by. Now I want you to do a quick test. Today, look at the shoes you wear most often and ask yourself, do these represent my choice or my necessity? If the answer stings a little, don't judge yourself, just acknowledge it. Because awareness is the first step to change. Comment, "I open my path," if this made sense to you. And now breathe, because I'm going to recap the 5 gifts in 1 minute. And then I'll give you a simple final ritual in 3 levels, a quick one, a complete one, and an alternative, so you can do what fits your life. Breathe with me one more time. Just to organize everything clearly, here's the recap, because clarity is what breaks the cycle. The first was a used wallet. When you use the container of another story, money may come in but not stay. The second was a used watch. When your rhythm mixes with a heavy time, you live rushed and lose peace. And without peace, decisions weaken. The third was something intimate and very personal. When your private space loses boundaries, emotional energy becomes heavy and scarcity feeds on exhaustion. The fourth was a used mirror. When self-image drops, courage drops with it, and life stalls. And the fifth was used shoes. When the path isn't yours, you keep walking but feel like you're not getting anywhere. Now comes the part that resolves everything. I'm going to give you a final ritual in 3 levels, a quick one, a complete one, and an alternative. You'll choose what fits your life, but the most important thing is to do it with presence. I want you to understand this first. You don't need fear, you need clarity, because clarity restores command, and command restores peace. This final ritual has 3 levels. You can do only the first one today, and that's enough. If you want to go deeper, you do the second. And if you can't do it the ideal way, you use the third. The goal is 1. Disconnect the pattern and open space for order. Level 1. The quick ritual takes 1 minute. Today, still today, do 3 simple things. First, choose a spot in your home, a table or a clean corner. Second, take a piece of paper and write, "From today on, I cut off scarcity in my home and choose order, peace, and provision." Third, read it out loud slowly 3 times. Now take the objects you recognized here, or at least the one that stood out the most, and then separate it. Just separate it. You don't need to throw anything away. You don't need to argue with anyone. You don't need to explain. Remove it from daily use. This act alone already shifts your mental state. You leave accepting mode and enter choosing mode, and finish by saying, "I reclaim command of my space," 3 times. Level 2, the complete ritual. Takes a few minutes but closes the cycle. Now, if you can do this with a little more calm and presence, I recommend this simple step-by-step. First step, choose an evening or a moment when you feel at ease, without interruptions. Second step, wash your hands and take 3 deep breaths. It may sound simple, even silly, but your body needs to understand that you're marking a moment, a reset. Third step, place the objects you set aside in front of you and say a clear sentence, without drama. "I acknowledge the story that came with this. I thank the lesson, and I release this pattern from my life starting now." Then, make a conscious decision for each category. Used wallet. Either keep it as a keepsake and don't use it, or replace it with one that's yours. If you already have your own grate, organize it inside. Remove old receipts, create space, and say, "My container is clean and organized." Used watch. If it has emotional value, store it with respect. If it doesn't, remove it from your cycle. Then choose a small time commitment, a short weekly moment to organize bills or paperwork, because prosperity is also built through habit. And say, "My time works in my favor." Intimate items, very personal clothing. If something makes you uncomfortable, you don't wear it. You choose your boundary with calm. And when you put on something that is yours, chosen by you, say, "My body is my home. I respect myself." Used mirror. If it feels heavy, move it to a different place for 7 days. If you decide to keep it, clean it slowly and say, "I see myself with clarity, respect, and hope." Used shoes. If possible, reserve them for casual moments and avoid using them for important decisions. And when you put on shoes that are yours, say, "I open my path with confidence." Now comes the most important part. After separating or replacing, there's something many people forget, and that's why the cycle often returns. You need to fill the space with an active order. Choose a drawer, a purse, a shelf, or the entryway of your home. Organize it for 5 minutes, just 5. This is not about cleaning the entire house. It's about sending a message to your brain. There is leadership here. Then finish with a short, simple sentence that you'll repeat for 7 days. "There is order in my home. There is calm in my mind. There is provision on my path." Level 3, alternative. If you can't replace anything right now. If you're thinking, "I can't buy anything new," or "I can't deal with this right now," that's okay. You can still break the pattern with dignity. Do this. Separate the object, even if it's inside a bag, and remove it from your main daily use. Even if it stays in your home, it no longer runs your day. And every time you notice financial anxiety, pause for 5 seconds and say, "I don't repeat old patterns. I choose the next right step." Repeated over time, this is powerful, because scarcity thrives on confusion, and you are creating direction. Now I want to speak to you with complete honesty. If you've made it this far, it's because something inside you was already asking for clarity, and clarity is not a burden. Clarity is freedom. You may have realized that one or more of these gifts is present in your home, and I'll say it again. Don't blame yourself. Don't judge yourself. Most people accept gifts out of love, politeness, necessity, or respect, but starting today, you have a conscious choice. What enters your space should strengthen you, not drain you. If you did the quick ritual, or decided to separate any object, comment below with a simple phrase, "I reclaim control." And if you want, come back tomorrow and tell me, which of the 5 was most present in your life? And I'll ask you something important. This channel is new and I want to build a strong community, especially for women who feel like they carry everything on their shoulders. Subscribe and turn on notifications. Here we'll create a complete, practical, symbolic series about the home. Entrances, colors, words that block, and habits that open paths. And so you don't miss the next one, here's the theme. In the next video, I'll show you the places in the home that quietly drain peace and provision, and how to adjust them in a simple way. Stay in peace. You're not behind. You were just without a map. Now you have one.